Okay. Hari Om Tats. The subject, the content and the message of this convention, as all of you know, is mental harmony, the universal message. When I start thinking about this conventional title itself, mental harmony, the universal message, I feel mental harmony is the only message for the universe. All other messages you will find will prove disharmonious either today or tomorrow, this moment or the next moment. The title is therefore of paramount importance. The message of mental harmony is indispensable for the individual, for the family, for the social segment, for the nation, and also the entire globe. With 13 years of preparation to fight the unprecedented Mahabharata war, when Arjuna came to the battlefield and wanted to examine the armies before deciding upon his strategy, and Krishna obeyed him, drove the chariot, stationed it in front of those who commanded the opposite camp. Just imagine what happened. The valorous, illustrious, unconquerable, so to say, Arjuna the fighter, he crumbled. His whole body was trembling. Mind was whirling. Intelligence was saying this far is notorious. It is sinful. The famous Gandiva, his bow, he was holding in his fist. It slipped from his hand. Unable to stand, he sat, leaving the weapons, saying, I will not fight. Can you imagine the scene? An illustrious fighter who had known no defeat at all came with Pashupadastra and so many other things to the battlefield, and he crumbles in no time at all. Luckily, Krishna was the charioteer. The rest of them were horses. Horses could not do anything at all, poor horses. If there was anybody to respond to the situation, it was only the charioteer Krishna. He was holding the horses, 4 horses, and he was turning back and talking to Arjuna, I think for about 2.5 hours. Just imagine. Krishna could not agree at all. What did Arjuna say? My grandfather, my teacher, my own kith and kin, I cannot fight them at all. I am totally overpowered by sympathy. Therefore, I want to retreat. Krishna could not accept and allow whatever Arjuna was proposing. After all, it is a battlefield. In the battlefield, the language, the thought process, the inspiration, the instigation, the resolve, the enthusiasm, the fervor, the confidence should all be of the fighter and the battler. Every one of the army, 4.5 million warriors, Arjuna, everyone has come here with an individual resolution to fight, either win the war or get killed by the opponents. Nobody has come here to return alive without winning the war. This being the situation, how dare you say, I will not fight and I am overpowered by sympathy? Krishna admonished him in very strong terms. I would like all of you to understand that Krishna spoke only 23 words and 64 letters. 24 words and 64 letters, nothing more. By listening to Krishna, the tearful Arjuna, he stopped crying. Stopped crying. And he was ready to ask questions and make enquiries. He said, I have stopped my sympathy. I will not raise a word about it. But some questions come to me, my dear Arjuna. One is my grandfather, whom I adore. the teacher from whom I have learned all my skill in archery. How can I think of fighting them? The moment I see them, I will fall at their feet, seek their blessings. They have no enmity or dislike towards us. They are always shedding their blessings on us. Can there be a fight between such a two? Is it possible? I agree that I have to fight, and I shall possibly fight also. But my question is, how to do it? How? That how is very important. In Arjuna's language, Katham bhishmamaham sanghe dronam cha madhusudana ishubhi pratiyosyami pujarha varisudana. I worship them. I fall at their feet. Such people, I have to take sharp arrows and discharge at their bodies. Is it ever possible? So I want you to equip me, enrich me, empower me to fight. I can only say, what is the miserable plight I am suffering from? Karpanya doshopahata swabhavaha pruchhami tvam dharma sammudha cheta yachsayasyan nishitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prabannam. My dear souls, this is the way he submitted at last. Krishna, I am not able to think properly and arrive at a solution. What is right for me now? I should not be involved in sin and sinful outcomes. But I am not able to have a clear insight. I agree that I am deluded. I am not able to think properly and arrive at a proper resolution. So I ask you, tell me where lies everlasting good and felicity. Remove my grief, cool my heart and mind. Let me be able to stand, take back my bow and arrow and fight as you ask me to do. But you have to equip me. Unless you are able to cool and comfort me, my mind as well as the body, I won't be able to get up at all. Don't tell me that somehow you fight. If you win the war, you will get back the kingdom. If you die, you will get the heroic heavens. Don't tell me and tempt me in this manner. If you have something else to offer in the form of an advice, direction or instruction, okay, I am ready to hear. This is how Arjuna stopped. Do you know what Krishna did? Everybody will say that Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. But this Swamiji has something else to tell you. Krishna, taking the tool of intelligence, activated the intelligence of Arjuna and made him think. I would like to say Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue between an enlightened intelligence and a deluded mind. In Arjuna was the deluded mind, and in Krishna was the enlightened intelligence. It is these two that started conversing for 2.5 hours. Once you understand that Gita is such a dialogue between an enlightened intelligence and a deluded mind, don't you think it is applicable for the day? What happened to Arjuna? He lost his harmony. He lost his balance. He lost his composure. He lost his stability. Now it was up to Krishna to instill, infuse and imbue all the things that he lost. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. That is what Krishna demonstrated, and Arjuna cooperated also in the whole process. You know how Krishna began? First of all, he said, Ashocyan anvashocastvam. You are grieving over those people who should not be grieved at all. See, this is the way for treating the mind's problem. A problem is first of all sensed by the mind and it suffers. The solution has to come from the intelligence, from nowhere else. Intelligence is the only agency which can act upon the confused mind, the debilitated mind, the irritated mind, the imbalanced mind, the imbecile mind. No other agency can. Never look anywhere else at all. Try to get illumined, enlightened, clarified. Have the effulgence of knowledge, the splendor of knowledge. Then only the mind will become stable. So Krishna started giving him the right tuition. Arjuna had a strong body, as I said, a very strong mind also. His intelligence also was sharp. He had Gandiva and Pashupadastra also, material wealth and acquisition. With all these, he was unable to face the war. So he lacked something. That lack was the knowledge of the soul. What is beyond the mind, beyond the intelligence, beyond the ego. Can you tell me what is that? It is the I that you refer to. Everybody says I. Maybe the mother teaches the child to say I, you, he, she, it, they, etc. Everything proceeds from the I. That I has never changed at all. Our body is my body, my mind, my intelligence, my ego, my house, my parents, my car. Everything is mine. The I remains the same. In the child, the same I. In the oldest man also, the same I. Now, Sri Krishna first of all pointed out that you are grieving over those who should not be grieved at. Whom are you grieving about? You are grieving about Bhishma and Drona and your kith and kin. Look at their faces. Do they have any doubt? Are they reluctant? Do they have any timidity? Any kind of a dislike or a doubt or a delusion in their mind? I will take you to a beautiful situation. This will make you understand the matters. Krishna and Arjuna conversed for about 2.5 hours. Arjuna's mind was clarified. He got back his stability, got back his memory. He said, I shall fight not one, a dozen Mahabharata wars. You know what next happened? Arjuna was ready. He took back his bow and arrow. Suddenly his elder brother Yudhishthira kept his bow and arrow down and he was marching straight to the opposite camp. Arjuna got so much unnerved. He caught hold of the hand of Yudhishthira, said, my dear brother, please don't go. Please don't go. Krishna said, leave him. He will not behave as you did. He is going to apparently take blessings from the elders. Leave him. Arjuna left. Yudhishthira straight went to Bhishma, prostrated before him, said, I have come here to take blessings from you before fighting the war. You know what the grandfather said? The grandfather said, very good, well done. My dear son, if you had not come to me and sought my blessings, I would have cursed you. Now that you have come, I am very happy. Though I am standing on Duryodhana's camp, my mind is not for him. He is wicked and his cause cannot be allowed to win. I defend it because I have all along been in this dynasty and I don't want to take sides at all. Whatever his way, it will invite its own outcome. I am very happy. He prostrated before Drona and the other elders. All of them blessed him for victory. What do you say about it now? Are Bhishma and Drona to be grieved over? Arjuna, you could have taken instruction from them. Why is it that I am unnerved, but you are not? So give me that kind of a wisdom and stability which you have. Instead of doing so, you started weeping, and bringing out so many arguments which have no relevance at all. So, Ashocyan Anvashoja. He made Arjuna reflect upon the grief itself. Grief itself. When you are grieving, the mind is grieving. The I is not grieving. When you are looking at the body, you are the I who looks at the body, looks at the whole world. You are the seer, the witness. All the other things are the witnessed. Similarly, when you refer to my mind, you are not the mind. My intelligence, you are not the intelligence. My ego, you are not. About that I, something requires to be done. Inquire. So Krishna began to say, Natvevaham jadunasam natvam neme janadhivaha najaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamadav param. Our doctor Ravi Jandiala told me, Swamiji, you should always understand and keep in mind that this convention is meant for the youth. Please make it known to the people. Yes, it is meant for the youth. Only when you become a youth, only when you become an adult, your intelligence start thinking well. You make your own choices, your own decisions, your own goals, your own values. The thinking process starts. Arjuna was a great man, an illustrious fighter, unconquerable, invincible, everything all right. But he was not given to introspection and thoughtfulness. It required a Mahabharata setting, the presence of Bhishma and Drona right in his front to make him think. Only when you think, your life evolves. By action, it does not. It has to evolve by a process of thinking. Arjuna began to think in the Mahabharata war front. And he said, instruct me properly and give me everlasting good. I am no more your brother-in-law or an illustrious fighter. I am a humble disciple, a student of yours. I anoint you as my teacher. Instruct me as a teacher will a student. This is what Arjuna said. I would like all of you to understand. Understand what? Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue between a teacher and his student. Arjuna is the student and Krishna is the teacher. Everybody calls Krishna God, God and escape. The responsibility of understanding the message. This is the way Krishna was instilling wisdom, discrimination in him. Natvevaham jadunasam. What does it mean? There was no time, Arjuna, when I was not. There was no time, Arjuna, when I was not. I was not. Nor were you not. Nor were Bhishma, Drona and the others not. There was no time when we did not exist. We are existing now. If you are existing now, you should have been existing like earlier also. Existence cannot come from non-existence, nor can existence be led to non-existence. Existence means to exist. If you are present now, you were present earlier. What was born was only your body. You were not born. And this body will continue to grow. From the mother's womb it came out, the umbilical cord was cut. Then what happened? The child starts growing. It became child. It became a boy. It became an adolescent, an adult. Then it started growing further and further and further. And ultimately death takes place. We call it death. But nobody spends any time to understand death. Has anybody died in this world? I am asking you. It's not enough if you say somebody has died. Let the died man come and say, I have died. Similarly, have you ever witnessed your birth? Have you witnessed your birth? Your mother has told you that you were born of me 2 years or 3 years earlier. That's all. Nobody has experience of his birth. And none has experienced death also. Then what is death? Death is only a transition. Like birth was a transition, growth also is transition, death also is a transition. It does not mark or imply extinction at all. Tatha dehantara praptihi, he says. It's only leaving the body and perhaps getting to another body. So Arjuna, you should not think that death marks any extinction at all. All these fighters who are present here, if they don't die here in the battle, their bodies will fall after some years, maybe in their own houses and mansions. It's only a question of postponing death, delaying death. But death is sure to be. For the fighters, it is very natural and harmonious. Mark my expression. Harmonious. To fight the war and die in the battlefield. All our military personnel, even police, they are recruited. What for? The military, when required, will have to fight. They will have to fire, kill the enemies, or get fired in the process and get killed. Is there any wonder? Is there any exception? Can anybody fear? There is no place for it. What is our intelligence for? To understand matters properly. So he said, there was no time when you, you, or these elderly people and the others were not. There is not going to be a time when we shall not be. So Arjuna, take away from your mind the fear and doubt about death. No fear and no doubt. Sri Krishna says in another context before Uddhava, Mrityuhu atyamda vismritihi. Every day we die. Do you know how? When we sleep. When we sleep, it's a death. We are going into a state of unconsciousness, where we are not conscious of the body, conscious of the mind, conscious of the intelligence, and conscious of the world. Somehow we wake up. From the so-called death sleep, one will not wake up. Death occurs to the biological body when the breathing process stops, when the brain signals stop. That is how death takes place. For the eye, there is no death at all. How beautiful is this message, my dear souls, especially the youth, the young hearts and minds. I believe more in the youth than in the elderly people. The elderly people, they have their own constriction, their own habitual addiction. They are not prepared to be exposed to a truth. This conversation is purely mento-intellectual. Sri Krishna speaks from the intelligence level. Arjuna listens to it in the mind level and tries to deliberate upon and understand in the intelligence level. It is all an understanding before the intelligence. When the intelligence is exposed to the knowledge of truth, should we not accept it, act upon it? So Arjuna felt that he had no problem of birth or death. Then what is surviving? What survives is life. Arjuna felt all his problems were about only life and living. Krishna sensed it. And what did he do? He tackled the issue of life. Issue of life. I hope all of you are with me. People are always asking, what is the relevance of Bhagavad Gita? Tell me after listening to me, is Bhagavad Gita relevant? That dialogue even to you now. When I tell you, there was no time when you were not. There is not going to be a time when you will not be. If you are now, you were earlier and you will be later. Is it not a line of reasoning? Is it not a point of enlightenment for the sharp and perceptive intelligence? There is no religion coming here, no God coming here. It is a conversation between Krishna, the enlightened, and Arjuna, the seeking. Understand this very well. Nobody else has interfered. Only there was a Sanjaya to listen to the dialogue. Only 3 people were there. As he was talking to Arjuna was receptive, Sanjaya was more receptive. He also understood the whole message. At the end, he speaks about it also. I heard the conversation, I imbibed it, I understood it. I am shining under its brilliance. I am so happy. I think more and more of the dialogue and I feel happier and happier, exhilarated. I feel the ecstasy of the dialogue. If you hear the dialogue, you will also become ecstatic. But listen to it. It is a treat to your intelligence. You have to approach it like that. Existence, can it ever become non-existent? A thing cannot change its original nature at all. So how can the soul, the I, which constantly survives in your system without any change whatsoever, how can it become non-existent? So every discussion now was focused on life. Krishna analyzes life in a very beautiful manner. I would like to say, in 4 letters, he has analyzed human life. You know what are the 4 letters? Matra sparshastu kaunteya. Matra sparshaha. The word matra refers to the senses. Senses. How many senses do you have? 5 of them. What are they? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. Our whole body is covered by these 5 senses. These senses are the ones to interact with the world. In the home, you interact with the senses. In the professional front also, you interact with the senses. And in the society at large also, interaction is done through the senses. The entire world of objects is objects of the senses. Between the world and the senses, the world is made up of Panchabhutas, earth, solid earth, fluid water, gaseous air, hot and brilliant fire, lastly, the indescribable space. Is there anything more than that? And all of them are inert and insentient, whereas we are sentient. The earth doesn't have a sensory organ, nor does water have, air have, or even fire has. Space also does not have. We have the senses. It is these senses that tell us there is a world. The world doesn't say. If there is an object, the object is first of all seen by my eyes, and my eyes say what is the color and the shape of the object. So the objects are born of the senses, my dear souls. Put off all your senses. Will there be a world for you? Will there be an experience or an interaction for you? It will never be, never be, never be. Understand it very clearly. So the entire life is an interaction. The interaction starts when you get up from the sleep. You open your eyes. You see the roof perhaps, and the wall, then the ground. This is what happens. From then on it is seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting and touching. We say the world is infinitely plural. I agree. I don't disagree. But I have to add something which you have to hear and understand. What is that? Though the world is infinitely plural, when we, the human, interacts with the world, the entire plurality is reduced into 5. Because we have only 5 sensory organs. We can only either see or hear, smell, touch or taste. Tell me now, is the world plural? Or altogether it is only sight, sound, smell, taste and touch? So every day we are interacting with this world ever since we wake up until we go to sleep. And all these interactions are between the senses and the sensory objects. What do the senses do when the objects contact them? Suppose light rays from an object get reflected and come and strike my cornea. What is happening? The eyes are sending electrical pulses to the brain center, and the brain center is interpreting it as experience and knowledge. Tell me, my dear souls, now, where is experience? Where is knowledge? Is it in the bodily and the sensory level? Or is it inside the body, in the brain level? Answer me very clearly. And I am particularly asking the youth. You are educated. You are repeatedly taught to think, understand, rationalize. Don't accept anything as a dogma or a tradition. Accept everything after putting it to a rational test and analysis. Arrive at a proper conclusion. No telescope can do it. No microscope can do it. It's only the human intelligence which is capable of analyzing the sensory propositions and arriving at right conclusions. The senses by themselves cannot work at all. They are inert. The whole body is made up of matter. so also the eye, so also the nose. How can they generate any experience at all? Our life is experiential and equally interactional. In the whole interactional level, understand the interaction takes place in you, the individual. In you, the individual. And also not in the bodily level, but in the inner level. So what is life? Life is interactional. Matra sparshaha. It is a contact between the senses on our body and the objects distributed in the world. Whenever matra sparshas take place, Krishna tells Arjuna, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkhadaha. They produce Shita cold, Ushna heat. Like heat and cold, Sukha and Dukkha are born. The word Sukha means happiness, pleasantness. Dukkha means unhappiness, unpleasantness. So the infinite number of objects in this world, when they approach us, they are reduced into 5, and these 5 sensations themselves trickle down to the mind level, and in the mind level they become pleasant and unpleasant. So in the experiential and interactional level, I am asking the entire youth of the world, answer this Swami, his question. In all your interactions, what are the responses or resulting experiences that you get? Are they 5 or are they 2? They are only 2. What are they? Either pleasant or unpleasant, sukha or dukkha. See anything that you want. Hear anything that you like. Smell whatever you wish. Taste and touch also. From all these 5 sensations you get only the same sukha dukkhas. And it is not 2 at once, at the same time. Either it is pleasant or it is unpleasant. It cannot be together. It will be pleasant or unpleasant, pleasant or unpleasant. Krishna describes it beautifully. Bhagavad Gita describes it. Shitoshna sukha dukkhadaha agamapayinaha. They come and go. Listen to me, my dear young children. They come and go. You don't call them. They meet you. They come. Just like breath is entering your system and also existing from the system, you wink your eyes, the heart goes on beating and taking rest, the lungs are bellowing. The Sukhadukhas also come and go. They come only to go. They go only to come. You alone are the person, are the existence which does not come and which does not go. Everything else is subject to fleetingness, evanescence, transitoriness. These Sukhadukhas always are repeating, repetitive. Whatever be the sensory objects, whatever be the sensations generated, Sukhadukhas remain constant. They are the only resultant from sensory interactions. So you tell me, Arjuna, whether in life you have any third experience or it's only either Sukha or Dukkha, one after the other. Agama apayinaha. That which comes and goes, what do you call it? Anityaha. They are impermanent, transitory. Even the Sukhadukhas that you get every day by virtue of your interactions are transitory by nature. Transitory by nature. You cannot change them at all. If you ask the Sukha not to come, still it will come. If you ask Dukkha not to go, then also it will go. Their role is to appear and disappear. Visit and abandon. Enter and exit. Subside and emerge. That is their nature. Tan tidikshasva bharata. Understanding that Sukhadukhas are the only resultants of the total interactions in life and they are fleeting by nature, they come and go, they emerge and subside. Tan tidikshasva. Learn to forbear them. My dear Sukhadukhas, your role is to come and go. Yes, I am here. Come and go. Come and go. I shall be the witness for you. I shall tell everybody in this world, Sukha is coming to me. After some time it goes from me. Dukkha also visits me. afterwards it goes. I shall tom-tom this news for you. I cannot say anything more about it. For me, you are natural, inevitable. The resultant of all sensory interactions. Tan titikshasva. Forbear them. What is meant by forbearance and tolerance? Tolerance is not tolerating a pain crushing your teeth. No, not at all. Tolerance is a quality which the mind and the intelligence should cultivate towards the transitory sukha-dukkhas, that's all. These sukha-dukkhas you don't have to strive for. You don't have to strive for. They come by themselves. And the whole world and the whole of your life can only give sukha-dukkhas. If you are following what I am saying, do you understand? Do you have anything to do in life now? Tell me. Whether you are educated, further educated, whether you are resourceful, well employed, you get a good remuneration, salary, you are a businessman, a trader, an industrialist, anything you may become. Your senses and my senses are alike. The world is alike. The interaction is alike. So all people here only have the fleeting sukha-dukkhas, for which none need make any effort at all. So we are coursing through sukha-dukkhas every day, my dear souls. Reflect upon this truth. This is what Krishna told Arjuna, to make him stable, to make him poised, to make him resolute, to make him stand up and fight for 18 days until out of the 4.5 million warriors, all but 10 were killed and fell. They fell. Arjuna did not have any other strength. He had the might of weapons with the body, but he had the spiritual might in his mind and the intelligence as a result of the knowledge that Krishna imparted to him in the course of 2.5 hours. My dear souls, what is forbearance? It is not lying on hot sand in midday. It is not getting into the deep waters up to the neck and remaining for 1 hour. There are sadhus, ascetics who practice such tolerance. It is not necessary. Real tolerance is the ability to withstand, patiently undergo sukha-dukkhas which come and go. How is the tolerance cultivated? That also Krishna imparts very well. Yam hina vyathayandyede purusham purusharshapha samadukha sukham dhiram somrudatvaya kalpade. Yam hina vyathayandyede purusham purusharshapha samadukha sukham dhiram. Wow. Here comes harmony. What is Krishna advising? Know that the sukha-dukkhas are fleeting, evanescent, transitory. No, from that knowledge you develop the tolerance and forbearance towards them. The forbearance will be best provided you understand them a little more. Yam hina vyathayandyede purusham purusharshapha. Whoever is not shaken by them, assailed by them, tormented by them, dislodged by them. Your mind should not be dislodged. If you are happy or somebody is happy, what is there new? If somebody is unhappy, what is there new? You inhale and exhale. The heart goes on beating and taking rest. The blood goes on circulating. What is there special about it? Let the world have any number of objects. You can have only sensory interaction with them. And the sensory interaction will bring about inevitably, unavoidably, happiness and unhappiness. So are they achieved by you, created by you, gained by you, or they prevail in you? This discrimination you should have. By the very fact of our life and by the very course of our interactions, sukha and dukkha alternately come and go. Understanding that they are coming and going. I am the only factor which does not come and which does not go. Tell freely to Sukhadukhas, my dear Sukhadukhas, my dear Sukhadukhas, I am at home with you. Come as you like, go as you like. I shall be here to host you, to bear you. I will be enriched by your presence. I will be stabilized by your onslaught. I am not going to be unsettled. This lack of unsettlement, it arises from knowledge, my dear souls, as it happened in the case of Arjuna. You are in the war of your daily life, interactional life. There in the home front, in the professional front, as well as in the societal front, you will pass through Sukhadukhas, occasioned and caused by different factors. By different factors. They will arise and they will also subside. Yamhina vyathayantyede purusham purusharshapha samadukha sukham dhiram. Is there any formula for it? Yes, there is a formula. What is that formula? Samadukha sukham dhiram. Be heroic, be wise, be enlightened. To become equal and even towards sukha and dukkha. Why do you prefer sukha? Are you having it because of your effort? No. What about dukkha? That also occurs without your effort. Does sukha have a greater status than dukkha? What is sukha after all? The disappearance of dukkha. And what is dukkha? The disappearance of sukha. You say darkness. Darkness. What is darkness? The lowest degree of light is greatest degree of darkness. Or conversely, the lowest degree of darkness is the greatest degree of light, and vice versa. Are there two things like darkness and light? Light also you see with your eyes. It reveals the other objects. But darkness also you see with your eyes. It does not reveal the objects. Both of them are objects of vision for you. There is no difference at all. In one, you cannot see objects. In the other, you are able to see objects. But both of them are illumining your eye. There is no doubt about it. Then why are you having a preference for sukha? Suppose you prefer sukha, will it prolong itself? Can you prolong it? Suppose you have an abhorrence towards dukkha, will it stop coming? Will it become short or shorter? No. Then what should be the right attitude towards them? Samadukha sukham. Whatever you feel about sukha, the same thing you feel about dukkha. So sukha loses its intensity. Dukkha also loses its intensity. Both of them become light and harmonious with you. Where? In your mind. I have been chasing and running after sukha, thinking that I can prolong it. And I have been struggling to eliminate dukkha, thinking that I can make it extinct. I understand that both of them will ever be. That is the nature of life. That is the resultant outcome of all interactions. Do I want to see? Do I want to hear? Do I want to smell, taste and touch? Then sukhadukhas also are bound to be. Would you like to be blind, deaf and dumb? As long as you don't want all these adversities, be at home with sukhadukhas. Marry them, so to say. Float in sukhadukhas. Take away from your mind the preference to sukha and prejudice to dukkha. Assessing that both of them are irrelevant, have no meaning and purpose. Now you unduly get elated in sukha and you unduly get depressed in dukkha. This undue elation and overwhelming depression, both will vanish and the mind will become harmonious, flexible, stable, stable, well lodged, well lodged. Mind you, this is knowledge. Knowledge is always a pursuit of intelligence, and the intelligence is the only agency to act upon the mind. How Arjuna stopped his crying, and how he became a questioner, and how Krishna started answering, and how Arjuna sharpens his ears, reflects upon what Krishna said, and he starts smiling and raising further questions. All this transpired, my dear souls, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna seated behind Krishna on the chariot itself, and 4.5 million warriors surrounding them. War is the most severest form of human activity. It comes under public administration. And the solution that Krishna is offering, the discussion that he is making, is about the most severest form of human activity. If it has resolved the problems arising from it, will it not resolve the little small problems connected with your interaction in life in the United States, in India, Malaysia, or anywhere else? Answer me. In America also you live and interact with the objects. In India also the same process goes on. What is the difference? All people have eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. Is there any American eyes? Are there any American eyes? Are there any Indian ears? What is it that you are talking about? The human remains the same. The most primitive man also had a body, a mind, an intelligence, an ego, and the self. The most modern man also has only these, nothing else. And the world is constituted by Panchabhutas, earth, water, etc. So where is the difference, my dear souls? Maybe somebody lives in a hermitage, another man lives in a mansion. What difference is there? Physically the residences are different, but life is not different. Can you challenge my proposition? Can you invalidate it? Do you have anything in your intelligence or mind which can contradict and call what I say a bluff? Answer me. I am addressing the youth. Yes, they alone are ready to think. They alone are prepared to honor knowledge. Knowledge is the greatest persuasion for everybody in this world. Everything else comes below that. Anything that you give to an intelligent man to handle, and a dunce also, you will find the intelligent people will do the task much better and faster. The world is ruled, I always say, the world is ruled by money and intelligence. If you ask me, I want intelligence to rule the world and not money. Intelligence can make money. Money may not create intelligence. I want you to be intelligent, to be wise, and handle your life in a glorious manner, and live in the ecstasy of grandeur, glory, magnificence, and superfluity. This is what the Swami wants. Our convention is held only for this purpose. Yam hina vyadhayantyede purusham purusharashabha samadukha sukham dhiram somratatvaya kalpade. See how beautifully Krishna speaks. I have to say something more, but I am wondering whether all of you are ready for it. After hearing from Krishna that there is no extinction called death at all, Arjuna said, I will no more raise the point of death. My questions will always be about life, the problems and confrontations in life. What is a confrontation? You tell me. You interact with this world. Where are the interactions taking place? In the sensory level. Sensory level. Suppose light rays come 1 millimeter away from the cornea, you will not see. It should touch. So where is the interaction? In our body, in the sensory level. Then also it is not an experience. Electrical pulses go to the brain and experience becomes inner and inward. Inner and inward. So you tell me, in the interactional life, where exactly is the interaction? In the inner, in the mind level. In the mind level, only 2 outcomes are there for all interactions, sukha and dukkha. And you evenize them, harmonize them. What do you call it then? The mind harmonizes sukha dukkhas, integrates sukha dukkhas. It develops a sense of equipoise and harmony towards them. Is it not mental harmony? Mental harmony. This harmony covers what? Covers the entire world. Covers the entirety of all interactions. Let the world be infinite. The infinite world, when I interact with it, it only becomes 5 sensations. And all the sensations together resulting in sukha dukkha formations in the mind. So what is the formula for life? Mental harmony, sukha dukkha samatva. Evenness and equipoise in happiness and misery. Let me put it in another way. What is that? Think of your eyes. You are looking at your body. You are looking at the wall. You look at the whole sea, the earth. You look at the sky and stars. All these are being looked at by you. They are perceived. They are witnessed by you. Now tell me very clearly, are you the witnessed? Are you the visible and the seen? Or are you the seer? Tell me. Every time, with regard to every experience, what is your position? Are you the experience or you experience the item? When I think, I am the thinker. When I understand, I am the understander. When I sleep, I am the sleeper. When I dream, I am the dreamer. When I am awake, I am the waker. So what is my position? My position is that of the witness. Witness. The witness cannot be the witnessed, and the witnessed cannot be the witness. So tell me, what are you? When you are unhappy, do you become unhappy or you are the witness? You are undergoing the unhappiness. When you travel in a train, do you run? Do you run? When you are seeing a movie, do you run with the pictures? Your position is very clear. I, indweller. That indweller remains there, witnessing everything. It witnesses the body. It witnesses the sensations. It witnesses the mind, thoughts, ideas, feelings, etc. It witnesses doubt, knowledge and the like. It remains the witness. And what is its dimension and magnitude? You can see a mustard with your eyes. You can see a mango with your eyes. You can see a coconut. You can see a full tree. You can see a vast area of land, a huge mountain. In all these, the eyes remain the same. So what is its dimension, you tell me? Look into the sky at night and see the number of stars. All of them you see. So as the seer, what is your dimension? You can host the entire universe. Tell me, my dear souls, are you small or greater than the greatest? Answer me right now. Are you small, negligible? Or are you witness of the whole Panchabhutas, the entire space? What is your dimension then? You are seeing the sun. Where is the sun? 140 million kilometers away from the earth. Have you gone there to see him? To see its sun? Has the sun come to you? No. It remains where it is. You remain where you are. Yet you see. Tell me, where are you seeing the sun? In the eyes or in the mind? It is in the mind that you see the sun, the stars, the earth, people, everything. So is not the world in you the witness? Or the witness is in the witnessed? Answer me very clearly. This is a role of discrimination. Don't bring telescope and microscope here. Don't bring any objective sciences here. Your mind cannot be seen or photographed. Your intelligence cannot be seen or photographed. Yet everybody knows that I have a mind, I have an intelligence. How do you know it? You are not knowing it through the senses. So there is a faculty in you which is capable of dealing with knowledge, pursuing inquiry, and arriving at findings. Scientific findings, objective scientific findings alone are not the findings. True findings are by the intelligence, for the intelligence, in the intelligence. Before intelligence, the I in you is only a witness. Ego is an object. Intelligence and mind are objects. Body is an object. The entire world is an object. All are witnessed. This is the dimension that you have. Once you are able to grasp this and reflect upon this dimension, even a small percentage of benefit that you have, tell me how much will it be? A decimal percentage of infinity, how much will it be? You tell me. My dear souls, in India, this knowledge had inspired quite a number of seekers. We are a great country. Great country. Great country. For us, money is not the wealth. Wealth is not the one to give contentment. Contentment and joy belong to the mind. They are emotional in character. As an emotion, everything belongs to the mind. Keeping the mind, the source of all contentment, what are you begging for and running after? This is a question I want to ask the youth of the world, not the elderly people. Maybe their energies are already spent. They will not reflect. They cannot even sit for a long time. Let the youth hear me. Let them pick up this conversation. Tell me, with all the wealth that you seek, what will you have inwardly? Contentment. Contentment. So the contentment, is it coming out of the wealth or it is generated by the mind? So the same mind can generate contentment without wealth also. Why? The I itself is blissful. How do you understand it? You understand it from sleep. The rich man sleeps. The poor man also sleeps. The educated sleeps. The illiterate also sleeps. Tell me, is there any difference between their sleeps? And in sleep, none wants anything. None wants anything. A mother who has had a long expected child, she looks after the child, plays with the child, feeds the child, and after some time, when the child goes to sleep, she also becomes tired. She was lovingly looking after the child, leaves the child, goes to sleep herself. The sight of the child was very, very pleasant. That pleasant sight is left for her, preferring sleep. Tell me, is not the sleep a greater contentment than the sight of the child? This is how we argue. This is how we take to inference. This is how we employ our intelligence, arrive at eternal knowledge and wisdom. Bhagavad Gita is one such. Krishna was drawing his wisdom from the Upanishads. He studied in Sandipani school. He has quoted Kathopanishad. He has referred to Brahma Sutras also. Bhagavad Gita is one of the three Prasthanatrayam. Prasthana means what? Voyage of knowledge. Knowledge itself is a voyage which the intelligence takes up, pursues, until at last it arrives at its own fulfillment. What do you think of the discussion? Everything is focused in a discrimination. You have a body, but you are not the body. You only have it. You live in a house, but you are not the house. You own a car, but you are not the car. You wear dress, but you are not the dress. Understand it very, very clearly. So the message of Bhagavad Gita is what? Enlightening the intelligence of the readers and hearers. Enlightening, giving them the wisdom. And the entire wisdom is focused on mind's harmony. Harmony towards what? Towards happiness and unhappiness. The only resultant outcome of the entire interaction in life, whatever be and wherever it is. I don't think I have to tell you anything more. When the mind becomes harmonious, you reach such a state of proficiency that you are harmonious with all disharmonies. I had a very good disciple. He was working in the railways. He had hosted me when I went to Bombay for lectures, Jnana Yajnas. During one such stay, his wife had taken leave and gone home. After 2-3 days, he was smilingly telling me, Swamiji, my wife, she is not here. If she were here, every day she would have accused me at least half a dozen times. Something or the other she would pick up. I am missing her quarrel, her accusation. Smilingly he was telling me. This is what I meant by harmonious with disharmony. If a wife is like that, and she is a wife, otherwise very dear and near, why don't you make light of it and be harmonious with her quarrels? ठीक है, रहने दो. Okay, let it be. I think we can harmonize literally with anything and everything. Anything and everything. I think I will stop for the time being, making all of you think, and let us go with the further programs for the day. I again remind you, the entire harmony, secret of it, it is with the mind. It is with the mind. Be harmonious with all the sensations which result only in sukha-dukkhas, allowing them to come and go, which they are bound to do. Do not prefer either and do not dislike either. Avoid undue elation and undue depression. Be moderate, be poised, be flexible, be assimilative, and become ecstatic. This is the message of Bhagavad Gita and from me also. I mentally embrace all of you. May you have good children and grandchildren in your families. All of them should have love for the family, equally love for the society also. They must have faith in God and they must always learn well, get hold of good jobs, and contribute to the productivity of your nation as well as the globe. Let the whole world be prosperous, not only with prosperity, but also with spiritual felicity, for which mental harmony is indispensable. I will chant a sloga and we will have the concluding Omkara and stop. Samvedyavarjitamanottamameghamahadyam samvitpadam vikalanam kalayan mahatman hridyevatishta kalanarahita kriyam tu kurvan agartrapadamethya shamodida shri kurvan akartrapadametya shamodida shri. Let us have a joint chorus recitation by means of which we shall pervade the whole surface of the earth. Harihi Om Tas. Jaya Guru.